Okay, so now we're ready to start talking about vectors. And basically a vector serves the same purpose as an array. We're using it to store a bunch of things together. But the vector is probably a little easier to work with than an array, and it's also safer to work with for reasons I'll get into maybe later in this video. But the first thing you need to be aware of is, unlike arrays, vectors don't come for free. Okay, you have to check them out of the C++ standard library. So you have to make sure to include vector up at the top. And then you can use your vectors as you want. So here I'm creating a vector of type string. I'm going to do like a rainbow example like we did with the arrays. So I'm in the colors, red, orange, yellow, and so on, those are strings. So I'm doing a vector of type string. You can do a vector of any data type, okay? But I'm calling my vector colors, and I'm hard coding a 7 here because there will be 7 colors in the rainbow. Okay, so then I'm going to populate it. You'll see the syntax is a little different than it is with the array. We're using the at function. The vector has an at function, and it allows you to access an individual element at that specific index. Okay, so and it is a zero-based indexing system just like arrays. So we're saying at position 0 put red. Okay, at position 1, the second element in the vector, put orange, and so on down the line. So 0 through 6 for the 7-element vector. Have indexes 0 through 6. So now the vector is populated, and I'd like to loop through it just like we did with arrays. I'm going to loop through the vector and print each element one at a time. It'll be like a list of colors, each on its own line. So I'm using a for loop to do it. I could use a while loop as well, but I'm using a for loop. I'm creating a loop counter variable called I. I'm initializing it to 0. That's very important. Kind of related to that, look at the loop condition. We're going while I is less than 7. So if you think about the values I is going to take on during the course of this entire loop, it's starting at 0, and we're doing less than 7, not less than or equal to 7. So the values of I are going to be 0 through 6. And I did that deliberately because our array, or not our array, our vector indexes are 0 through 6. So we want this to line up perfectly. All right. You want your loop counter values to line up with your vector indexes when looping through. And the same is true for arrays as well. So of course our increment, and then finally, again, using that at function to access a specific element at that specific location, that index. Now, again, this is like, we looked at this during arrays, loop counter as vector index when you're looping through. So first time through the loop, I is going to be 0. We're accessing the value at 0, at position 0, which is red. Okay. Second time through the loop, I is going to be 1. We're going to access the element at position 1, which is going to be orange, and so on. So let me go ahead and run that. And there it is. There's my rainbow.